Who is running the Biden administration? Is it Joe Biden, or is it his chief of staff, Ron Klein, or does the previous president, Barack Obama, cast a larger than life shadow on his administration, or is it even Bill Clinton going back a couple of more presidents? Who is it? Now let's take a quick look at what has happened since Biden came to power in 2021 January. Initially, we noticed that many decisions were going 180-degree reversals within 24 hours. Something would come out today, tomorrow the thing would be turned exactly opposite. And at that point of time, both I and 𝙒𝙗𝙧𝙤𝙪, we were reading the tea leaves, so to say. We had some information that said that somebody else is exerting a lot of pressure, a lot of influence on the Biden administration. So I want to just kind of walk you through different scenarios to try and help shed more light on what is happening and now what is happening. I mean, we have to go back to 2021 to see how things change. You remember that Kamala Harris been more or less made a clown by this administration. I mean, vice presidents don't typically carry a lot of clout. They are usually operating in the shadows. But this one was extra special. She was really made to look much more clownish than what anyone would give her credit for. She's a very smart individual. However, she has been copying a lot of criticism, especially when she was made the border czar and then she never bothered going to the border. That clearly tells you that she didn't want to do it. Somebody said, you shall do this thing, or this responsibility was thrust on her and she wasn't really keen on taking that. And when somebody asked her in an interview, why have you not gone to the border? She said, well, I haven't gone to Europe either. Well, pretty flippant answer. Unfortunate choice of words, I would say. But she could have said more like, you don't have to be physically present there to manage the situation. I do get all my inputs. I have very close, I'm keeping close tabs on what is going on. Things like that. That's what an experienced politician would say. Any question you ask a politician, he has an answer ready. It might not be answering your question, but he has an answer ready. She has an answer ready. So something there that didn't quite trigger on that particular interview. But really, who was running the Department of Homeland Security? That is the person, Mayorkas, right? And if you go back and look at what Mayorkas' record has been, I think he was from California too, if I remember correctly. And that person was really responsible for all the opening of gates and closing of the gates. It was pretty rampant, and many people have come in. Now the United States is faced with a lot of children whose parents cannot come in, but they are here. But what kind of a future are they going to have? To tackle that, the Biden administration brought in Susan Rice to take care of things. Ron Klein is the White House Chief of Staff, and many said that it was he who was telling all the people who had, interests in the Democratic government that whatever you said, whatever you wanted will happen. Don't mind what Biden is saying. So there was all these course corrections that was happening. That was being done by Ron Klein. In fact, even today, Ron Klein is very much the White House Chief of Staff. So we don't know if he's the one really pulling the string, but at whose behest? That's the question we are going to try and answer. And stay with us as we go through some of the left turns and right turns and so on and so forth. To take care of the domestic policy, especially to manage this thing, the Biden administration brought in Susan Rice. Now, this appointment of domestic policy advisor does not require the Senate or House approval. Therefore, because they thought that she might not get it because of her previous record, let's say. And therefore, she was brought in as a domestic policy advisor. There was only one problem with that. She was always an international relations expert. She had experience of dealing with foreign policy for 30 plus years under various administrations. And you ask her to come in and now manage the domestic policy. How so? It looked weird when that order came in and people were wondering, what is it that Susan Rice is going to be doing in this administration in an area that she's not familiar with? So now that took the extrapolation to the next level, that well, Susan Rice could be carrying out orders from outside, and she could be influencing the Biden administration, taking things going left, right, and so on and so forth. So now the question was, who was it that was really steering the ship? Was it, no, we have set aside Joe Biden. Remember, initially he had all these missteps and fumbles. Even today, there is some cognitive disorder that appears to be apparent, but nobody wants to tell the emperor that he is not wearing clothes. So this is a problem that the American public at large has. And until 2024 happens, we will not be able to see the result of how much the long-suffering citizens of the United States have understood that their president is not fully functional, that he is not in complete control of all his five skills, so to say. So that is something that the American people have to decide. But let's say for now that the decision making in the initial months was happening between these two individuals. Now, what happened was that as time progressed, the flip-flopping, that is the 180-degree reversals, started decreasing. Why did that happen? So clearly, there was a lot of heat felt by the administration. I mean, PGurus had the daily global insights where we were really showing the mirror to them what is happening, especially in the illegal immigration inflow. This was done to sort of like a vengeance against what Donald Trump had done. They said that he separated the children from the parents and so on and so forth. So what is happening with the children whose parents are not able to support them in the US because they all entered illegally? That's a saga of its own. Those children are going to be another challenge for America as they grow up and they start becoming mature. Because what we are hearing is that Susan Rice has now been eased out and Neera Tanden has been brought in her place. And the reason cited was that Susan Rice is unable to control the child labor exploitation that is alleged in some states. There was one case in Alabama that was brought to her attention, and the people said that she wasn't really, she didn't seem to really understand what it was, never really could get her hands around this problem. So essentially what the message went was that she isn't really running domestic policy, she doesn't seem to know much. So they brought a stalwart, Neera Tanden. Neera Tanden had tried for a different post, Office of Management and Budget, OMB, and that one required Senate approval, confirmation. That didn't come through because many felt that her tweets were very strong. So she was denied that, but now she's in the Biden administration as a domestic policy advisor. So what that brings us to the question, who really is running this government? Who is really running this government? Well, you have the possibility that the deep state, which is always accused of running anything, it doesn't matter, is running the government. However, the bigger question that one needs to ask is, what was Barack Obama doing giving that interview? Because till now he hadn't opened his mouth. He used to campaign for some candidates, which itself is very unusual. He campaigned in the runoff in 2021 when there was a Senate seat up for grabs. The two Senate seats were up for grabs in Georgia. He campaigned there. He also campaigned in 2022, which itself many people found unusual. Usually ex-presidents have a certain dignity of office. They don't come out and say anything one way or the other. They're supposed to be neutral. But he did do that, which is again questionable. That just shows you that the politics of United States also is, falling, and it's falling alarmingly. There was a time when even a sniff of a scandal could throw the candidacy out of a presidential contender. Not anymore. We have much more than that. Things have gotten from bad to worse. You saw the POTUS do something very funny with a Hollywood actress recently. You know all that. You've seen, if you've been following social media, you know what I'm talking about. So the point now is, who is now controlling the levers of the Biden administration? Because if you remember, April 2023, Susan Rice was out. So whatever shadow that Obama was casting on this administration, we can argue that, okay, now that is gone. In fact, there were claims in social media that many of her unadvertised visits to the White House have been sanitized, meaning like they've been removed from the logs of White House. They didn't want those visits of Susan Rice to the White House being recorded. That is very questionable. What is there when she was, after all, the domestic policy advisor? Then why should the logs be doctored? That's maybe that will bring up another investigation should the government flip, White House flip from the Democrats to the Republicans at a later date. But today, there is a bigger problem for the Democrats. Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States, is going to be impeached according to the House Chairman, that is Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy has said, and I'll try and give you the link, it's a small blurb, where he's talking about how the DOJ tried to obstruct the Hunter Biden investigation in more ways than one. And the other problem for President Joe Biden is that now he is not only implicated in helping Hunter Biden. There is a WhatsApp message. You guys have been following that, haven't you? If not, anyway, I'll put that link also in the references so you can take a look at that. So Merrick Garland is in a lot of hot water right now. He might get impeached. If that happens, that would definitely move the focus back to the president and what he was doing with his son. How many kickbacks did he have? There are lots of allegations there. I have done many monologues myself. Let's get back to the topic here. Obama comes out and makes a statement. He takes pot shots at Modi, at India, but also he has been critical of the Biden administration too. I don't know if many of you saw that part or not. So why is Obama censoring his own successor? Does he think that now Biden has stopped listening to him? And that's a possibility. So you are seeing all these generals come out. You had George Soros come out a few months ago. Now Obama has come out. So, but who is the person still pulling all the strings? It might not be one individual. It could be the usual deep state, which comprises of many actors. But while that is going on, the Biden corruption investigation is also gathering steam. Is it just the Republicans who are after Biden, or is there a group within the Democrats helping the Republicans saying, look here, look there, and so on and so forth? We don't know. So the other interesting story that is emerging is that Bill Clinton could also be influencing the Biden administration. Now, that is a bit of a long shot. However, some people who worked under the Bill Clinton administration are now in the Biden administration. But then see, Democrats will have a pool of people whose expertise they'll consider as being good for running the government. And this is normal. So we can't say that just because somebody worked for Bill Clinton and is now working for Biden means automatically that that person is influencing. Susan Rice, it is believed, had a larger than life influence. So Ron Klein is somebody who has been in the background, in the shadows. He has been managing this thing quietly. Now, we don't know who he listens to, whether he is just listening to all the people who have donated generously to the Biden campaign, which is where, they say, okay, I need my return on investment, right? The military complex or the oil complex. I mean, all these people have now gotten paid, in big bucks. They've all, got enriched thanks to the Ukraine conflict. One conflict, the oil lobby is happy, the arms lobby is happy. And the only thing that is left in Biden's administration that he needs to satisfy are people like George Soros, who I think he did first. So he has basically made everybody happy. Ergo, now everybody has blessed on him running for another term. And that's why he has now said that he is going to run again. So this is another theory that one puts out. Whatever it is, the problem that Biden has is he has lost that one thing that any president is expected to have, that he needs to be able to be completely copacetic, cogent, be very focused on his job. One has one's doubts when you look at how Biden has been performing, whether he really has it in him or not. Because when he runs again, he'll be 82, and by the time he retires, he'll be 86. And he doesn't look like he's in good shape even now, tripping and falling and falling off of his bike. He keeps trying to make it look like he's fine, but there are other places, other times. See, the life of a president is not easy. He's under close microscopic cynosure all the time. So people are always looking to see what he does right, what he does wrong, and play up the thing based on what lobby is, commenting about it. The Democrats will play it up if he does something right, and the Republicans will run him down. This is par for the course. But my big fear is that will the Republicans, going by the mood now, they should win 2024, will they be able to pull it off? I have my own doubts, but as time progresses and as we get closer to 2024, I'll let you know how things are going, and we will have these conversations, or rather I should say monologues. I tell you and you can, by way of comments, reply back. If you have some questions in depth, please do feel free to ask them by way of comments, and I'll try and reply back to you in my next monologue on who is running the Biden administration. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the